I killed my first crow when I was 9. I wish I could say it was an accident, but that'd be a lie. I'd been watching it for about a week. It came to our yard around the same time each morning. It knew it was the same crow because of the white blotch around one of its eyes, almost like some kind of birthmark. It would hop around, peck at the dirt for a bit, and then fly away. I'm not sure why it kept to this routine. It wasn't like we were leaving food out for it or anything. One day, for whatever reason, I decided to pick up a stone and throw it at it. I missed, only succeeding in scaring the poor thing off. I didn't expect to see it again, but lo and behold, the next morning as I looked out the kitchen window, there it was, right on schedule. I ran out, got another rock, threw it at it, and off it flew, only to come back the following day. We kept this dance going pretty much throughout the whole of summer. In hindsight, I think I understand why I wanted to hurt it so badly. I was jealous. Unlike it, I couldn't just fly away whenever I wanted. I was stuck here, confined to the ground, confined to this hellhole of a house. It was as if it knew that and came back every day just to taunt me. Inevitably, the stone did find its mark. I was just as surprised as the bird when I finally managed to hit it mid-takeoff, sending it back down to the ground. There it continued to thrash and flap around, but try as it might, it couldn't get airborne again. One of its wings didn't seem to be cooperating. After a while, it gave up and just sat there in the middle of the sunburnt grass, its chest puffing and deflating, its head swiveling in all directions. I grabbed the largest of the lawn ornaments scattered throughout the backyard, lifted it with both hands, and slowly walked it over to my wounded quarry. The bird stayed put. It definitely saw me coming, but for whatever reason, didn't even try and move away. I raised the hefty porcelain rabbit halfway over my head and, using every ounce of force my skinny little arms could generate, brought its full weight back down on the helpless creature. Over and over. There was so much blood. I could feel its warmth on my hands and face as it sprayed after every impact. Only once I was done pulverizing the crow into a glistening mass of broken bones and feathers did I realize that it didn't make me feel any better. I was still just as angry, just as sad, only now there was a layer of guilt on top of it all. Suddenly, I heard my mom call me from inside the house, and my whole body froze. She shouted for me to go upstairs and get my stuff ready, since Dad was coming to pick me up in an hour. I didn't even look back. I just responded with an uneven, "Oh, okay." Guilt turned into panic. In hindsight, I could have just put the ornament back where I found it, maybe wiped off the blood, and nobody would have been the wiser. My mom hardly ever went out into the backyard anymore, and even if she did, she probably would have assumed that a stray cat was responsible for the mess. But in my 9-year-old brain, that wasn't enough. My mind was cycling through progressively more hopeless scenarios. If Mom found out, she'd tell Dad. And what if he stopped coming over? What if the neighbor's kids saw it and blabbed to everyone at school? They'd think I was an even bigger weirdo than they already did. The lump in my throat grew larger. My eyes fell back down to the bird, or what remained of it. Conflicting emotions wriggled like worms in my gut. Then, an unspeakable thought emerged. I could eat it. The impulse was primal, almost instinctive, stemming from the same raw envy that led me to this gruesome act in the first place. But in a twisted way, it did make sense. I mean, no one batted an eye when Granddad used to take me fishing. Even though we caught and killed the fish, it was all good because we ate them afterward, right? Killing isn't bad when it's done for food. Animals do it all the time, and we don't judge them for it. I reached out, fingers trembling, and turned the limp body over to reveal its sleek, ebony feathers matted in crimson. There was an almost metallic scent emanating from it as I picked it off the ground. I held my breath and bit into the still, warm flesh. Its sinewy textures resisted my teeth as blood gushed inside my mouth. The taste was foreign, tangy. It was neither pleasant nor unpleasant, it just was. Strips of stringy tissue clung stubbornly to the carcass. I had to chew through each one individually. Forcing the first piece down was tough. It slid down my throat like a thick, sluggish rope. With no choice but to continue, I tore off another piece, ligaments stretching, protesting as I yanked it away. Each chew echoed in my ears, a sickening squelch against the backdrop of chirping insects and rustling leaves, as if nature itself were holding its breath in disbelief. And it wasn't the only one. "Jacob, what the hell are you doing?" I dropped my kill and snapped back to see my parents standing at the edge of the yard. Their faces were a mask of disbelief and revulsion as I stared at them, my mouth full of raw meat and feathers. A trail of hot blood dripped down my chin. That's how it started.